Dandava.
Haribol, Dandava.
Haribol. Happy to see you, Maharaj, devotee. Dandava Pranam. Icha Prabhu, Vishwamba. How are you, Maharaj?
Good, Prabhu.
Oh, very well. If you fine, we are happy.
Likewise.
No.
Ah, linda.
Linda Didi. Bhakta Linda. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Harindan.
Glad you could join us. Let us turn to Vandana.
Yes, Maharaj.
Vandeham
Sri Guru Srijuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavansha Sri Rupa Satyajata
Sahagana
Bhutam Dansa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parisaritam Krishna Chaitanya Deva
Sri Radha Krishna
Krishna Pada
Sahagana Pandita Om
Janatiraja Janan
Salakaya
Chakshurumitanya Tasmai Shri Gurave
Namaha.
Puya Shri Guru Bhagavandita Mahavandita Yasaya Purvapaya
Parampara.
Pracharita Brahmotate Bhaktir Nirvala Nihasya
Nityam Sakam Sadharam. Vande Shri Gurudeva Madata.
Ananta
Shri
Shiva
Nijam.
Gurvadisa Supuratam Guru Vainasya Satam Bhushitam Chintya Chintya
Samasta Vedam.
Nipunam
Virupa Bhadanubam.
Govinda
Govinda Vidanu Palam. Bhavatam Bhakti-amritam Sundaram. Vande Vishwam Chavidya.
Bhagavat
Premo Vidya Pragam. Devam Diyantanam Sushanda Vaganam. Varaka Sevam Sitam. Sandananda Puram Sadekam. Varanam Vaidakya Vidya Buddhim. Siddhanta Nidim Shubhati Nasitam. Sarasvatanam Varam. Vandetam Shubhalam Malika. Charanam Yasishvaram Sriharam. Siddhanta Sarasvati Vidyo Vidyaguram Bhaje. Bhagavan Viva Pravata Gauni Vata Sankirtane Mayavati Vinodara Gatan Vidya Niman Krishna Prema Shubhaniraham Sukam Prema Pramutam Bhaje Namo Gaura Kisoraya Bhakti Jotamurtaye Gaurari Padmarindaya Radha Bhavani Devaya
Vande
Bande Bhakti
Bhakti
Vinodam
Vinodam Sri
Sri Gaura
Gaura
Shakti
Shakti
Swarupakam
Sarupakam
Bhakti
Bhakti Shastrajnanam Rajyam Radha Rasa Sudanjim
Gaura
Gauraya Shikta Satai Vaidnavir
Vaishnaver Vande
Vigraham
Vigraham
Jagannath
Jagannatha
Prabhu
Prabhu
Vande
Vande
Premadi Dirda
Premadri Virda
Vaishnava
Vaishnava
Panchata
Pancha Kalpataru
Kalpataruyascha
Bhavascha
Kripa
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 Sinduya
Sindhuva
Eva
Evacha
Cha
Patita
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha
Panchata
Panchatatmakam
Panchatatmakam
Krishna
Tasmam
Bhakta
Bhaktarupa
Bhaktarupa
Swarupakam
Sarupakam
Bhaktavata
Bhaktavataram
Bhaktavataram
Bhaktakyam
Bhaktyam
Namami
Namami
Namami Bhakta
Adyashaktikam
Satsitam
Namo
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 Bhagavate
Mahamadana Krishna
Krishna
Prema
Prema
Pradayate
Pradayate
Krishna Chaitanya
Krishnaya
Krishnaya
Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Name
Name
Vishnu
Gaura Vise
Namaha
Namaha
Jayata
Jayatam Rato
Gautamato
Gandharvama
Namam
Namam Kirtati
Tapate
Matsarvata
Madhava Padamboja
Padambujo Radha Madana Mohana
Divya Vrinda
Divya Drundavanaya
Kalpata
Kalpadrumadaya
Sri
Srimad Ratna
Sri
Sri
Gandharva
Gandharva Srila Govinda Devo
Devi
Kesadi Saranam Smarami
Sriman Rasa
Sriman Rasa
Sandi
Samavi
Vansi
Vansivatata
Vansi
Vispita
Shatitaha
Kasameno
Kasamino
Mohi
Sayani
Gopina Yeduna
Nagapriyastunaha
Vrindaya
Vrindaye
Vindaya
Tushdevaye
Dhyaya
Priyaye
Krishna
Kesavachita
Krishna
Krishna
Bhakti
Bhakti Pade Devi
Satyavata
Namo Namaha
Otanatamam
Tanatra Mantra Gurun
Purun
Bhagavata
Bhagavata
Sadam
Yasanjaya
Yasam Jagat Vidhimata Tato Jayam Dhirate
Jaya
Sri Sri
Sri
Sri
Guru
Guru
Gauranga
Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Pada Padmana Jasto
Sri
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 Krishna
Krishna
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri
Shri
Advaita
Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Santa Maharaj Ki Jai,
Jai
Jai Kiri Govardhan Ki Jai,
Jai
Jai Salveda Bhaktivinda Ki Jai.
Jai
All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. For Premanandi, Hari Hari.
Hare
Hari
Hare
Bol
Sripad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Jai
Hari
Dhanavad Subadevi.
Dandavad Pranam Maharaj. Dandavad Pranam. Dandavad
Dandava
Pranam. Dandavad Pranam.
All right. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya. Asatara Sata Shri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Dev. Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Shri Prapanna-jivanamrtam ki jai.
Jai.
Text. Let's see. On chapter 8, I think it is. Text 12. 9, chapter 9. Chapter 9, text 12, the divine words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself about surrender, about Sharanagati. Is what we are reading at this time. So, Sri Krishna Praptir Eva Shura Jnana Phalam It Yanubhavitur Mahatmana Sadurlabhatvam. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavam mam prapadyante. Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sadurlabha. This is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. And Srila Maharaj comments, the absolute surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna is the purpose of knowledge. Yeah. The great soul who realizes this truth is exceedingly rare. So the whole purpose of our knowing faculty, our ability to know anything, the whole purpose of that is to know this, is to know that we must surrender to Krishna. So the translation Srila Maharaj gives of this verse in the Bhagavad Gita is that having passed Bahunam Janmanam Ante, having passed the many lifetimes of assiduous spiritual practices, by the influence of Sadhu-Sanga, the association of saints, one attains to knowledge of my identity and thus surrenders utterly unto me. Thereafter, he reaches me and realizes that everything without exception is related to Vasudeva, and thus everything that he is, that be, is of the nature of Vasudeva. Such a great soul is exceedingly rare. Well, this is called Krishna consciousness. Bohanam Janmanam Mante. Bohanam means many, Bohu. Janmanam, births. Bohanam Janmanam Mante, after many births. And but Sridhara Maharaj qualifies that what is it? Bahunam Janmanam Ante, Yanavam Mam Prapadyante. That Bahunam Janmanam Ante doesn't mean that you're just taking one birth after another without any spiritual practices. He says, after many births of spiritual practice, many attempts at making spiritual advancement in life, then that such a person becomes wise. Jnanavam, he becomes wise, he knows, he can understand, he has knowledge. Jnanavam. Mam prapadyante. Mam, Krishna is saying me, my. Prapadyante. Prapadya means surrenders. So after many, many attempts, after laborious effort to try to understand him, to try to engage in activities that will bring you closer to Krishna consciousness. Then one may become wise. One will get some purification in their life, and jnana will appear. Not that one has to, by his knowledge, know Krishna, but that by his endeavors to know Krishna, to serve Krishna, to act properly, to act in Krishna consciousness, that will induce or reveal the knowledge of Krishna so that we can surrender unto him. And if we haven't reached that point of surrendering to Krishna, recognizing that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Vasudeva is Krishna, Sarvam, all, that Vasudeva is all, Sarvamiti. We won't be able to recognize that the cause underlying everything, and whatever is, all being has its foundation in Krishna. has its essence, has its significance, has its reality, only because Krishna is there. Otherwise, it's superficial. If we don't understand that deeper truth, we'll only see the surface appearances of things. What appears, there's two things. What appears and what is there to appear. What appears, or the appearances, our senses detect appearances of things, how things look to us. But what those things are themselves, that we don't know by the senses. We can't our senses can't penetrate to that which is beyond appearance. We can only see, hear, smell, taste, and so forth. These are called appearances or phenomena. We say the sugar is sweet. It's also white. It's also crystalline. So many properties we'll give. Say the sugar is this, that, the other thing. But what is the sugar itself? Sweetness is not sugar. Whiteness is not sugar. Crystallinity is not sugar. These are all predicates. These are all properties. But properties means something owns those properties. And what that is, we don't know because we can only see the properties themselves. They call it phenomena. We only detect phenomenal reality. We don't detect noumenal or reality in itself or the absolute. But that absolute is lying there behind all appearances and causing the appearances. And that underlying noumenal reality, that is Krishna. These are all his energies, and we are all his energies. Seen from outside, that's all they are. His energies. But unless we understand that the energies have a source, you don't just get energy like that in thin air. Somewhere it has to be generated. Energy requires generation of energy. The electricity in your house, it doesn't just come because you turn on the switch. Your light will turn on. And you think it's from the switch? No, they're coming from the generator. Somewhere there's a place where the electricity is being generated. There are different types of generations. They have atomic energy plants. They have hydroelectric plants. It may come from windmills, wind turbines. Nowadays they have solar panels coming from the sun. But somewhere that energy has to be generated. Then it can come to you. So you only see the energy as it comes to your house, but you don't see the generator, but it's there, it must be there. In the same way, we are experiencing the energy of Krishna, but Krishna must be there. The Shakti Mam, the Shakti and the Shakti Mam. Krishna is the source of all these things. And a wise person, when after trying to understand things, he may, by his good efforts, by his proper life, living activity, of constantly purifying, struggling against his lower faculties, the lower tendencies, endeavor for cultivating that higher tendency of relation to Krishna. I was trying to see the truth behind all these apparently true things that are not Krishna. Maya. Maya means not that. What we are seeing is not that, is not Krishna. We're seeing everything but Krishna. we negate. Ma means na. Na means not. And ya means that. So Maya means to not Krishna, to negate Krishna and see everything else but Krishna. That's Maya. What we're seeing is not Krishna. That's our defect. Krishna is there. Maya means that not Krishna, negating Krishna just to see what is there. But what is there is not the full story. When you look at a movie or a video or whatever, you may become entranced by the movie, by the video. But that's only a superficial appearance of what is really going on. Those flickering lights on the screen are not the actual person. They're not even depicting the actual person's life. They're just acting. They're acting like Napoleon or George Washington or whatever. Prithu Maharaj, Padmavati. They're acting like that. But they are not the actual person. That's only a superficial show. And so the same way, you must understand, this world is like that. It's the show of something more fundamental. The spiritual truth underneath and behind. So that is causing the appearances, just like when the sun shines on a person, it causes a shadow. The shadow has the same shape as the person, but the shadow is not the person. So this world is like the shadow, looks like this original thing. Or when you look in the mirror, when you look in the mirror, you see yourself. Isn't that yourself in the mirror? No. It looks like you, but that's not it's only a reflection. If you try to hold that reflection in the mirror, what do you get? You only get a hard surface, a glass. They won't be touching you. So that the appearance, the reflection, and the actual thing that is appearing or being reflected, these are two different things, although they look similar. So those who are in ignorance, those who don't know about these things, who have never heard about these things, they are unfortunate. They are unfortunate. They will never surrender to Krishna because they're chasing after the images. They are chasing after reflections and missing the real import, the real value of things. And not only that, seeing that what is real, but then surrendering to that and recognizing, all the time I was not realizing, but I am part of that Supreme Lord Himself, Krishna. I am His energy also. And I have a particular type of energy, a serving energy. And the serving energy is always serving its source. Energy has no independence from the source. It's independent. In this way, we are also dependent upon our source. Why would we try to disconnect from the source? As soon as you disconnect the electricity from the source, what happens? The light goes out. Right? So the same way, as soon as we stop trying to connect to the source, we go out, our life becomes just a meaningless thing, not a real life. A reflection, an appearance of life, without the real juice, without the real liveliness. Anyhow, this is Krishna telling, this is his words. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's Krishna speaking. And he is revealing this knowledge to us, to Arjuna, and to everyone who listens to that, and reads that, and pays attention to what is being said. To give you the deepest secret, the highest truth. We should not take it lightly. They're not, again, an act of intelligence to take what Krishna himself was saying lightly, like some other book. Don't treat it like some other book, like the opinions of some finite being. Such a great soul is exceedingly rare. Samahatma sadurlabha. Samahatma. Mahatma means great soul. Not like this Mahatma Gandhi. A great soul. Atma. Atma. The word Atma is there. Huh? Maha Atma. Great soul. That great soul is one who understands Krishna. That is a great soul. One who surrendered to Krishna. But in this world, everyone is distracted by some finite interest. And they're not interested in the infinite. Therefore, it's called Durlabha. Durlabha means very difficult, not easy, not happy. Durlabha, dukkha, sukha, dukkha. Huh? There's sukha, happiness, dukkha, unhappiness, and durlabha. Durlabha means a very difficult thing, very difficult to find. Mahatma. And we are so fortunate to be able to have the association of Bhagavad Gita and the words of Krishna himself. What greater soul could it be than that? Paramatma, the highest being. And what to speak of his devotees who are situated in that understanding also. Who teach us to approach Bhagavad Gita, teach us what Krishna is saying, and give us an example in our own lives that we can follow. And chastise us when we're forgetting. That is a real mercy. They're not cheaters. Teacher and not a cheater. You know, if you turn the words, the letters of the word teacher, you change around the letters, you get cheater. So the teacher is not a cheater. He doesn't say something that is not originate as its original saying in from Krishna's lotus lips. The perfect teacher. If someone is posing as a teacher, but they're not telling what Krishna says. They're not being honest. No, and tells you honestly to your face, you are not following. But instead tells them, oh, no, you're very nice. Then it's cheater. He's cheating you. He says, no, you are nonsense. Then we know. Well, thank you, Gurudev. Telling me the truth, not to be nice. To pretend. Put on a mask. Oh, yes, you are a devotee, very nice person. No. And you are a rascal at the same time. No, that's cheating. Dishonesty. So we're very happy when Gurudev tells us some criticism. Yes, Gurudev, you have understood me properly. Thank you for showing me what I am. Of course, ultimately, we're all devotees. We're all eternal servants of Krishna. But we don't always act that way. We're not always acting in that knowledge. We have so many misconceptions that are clouding that vision and preventing us from following that path. All right, text number 13. Labdha chit swarupasyaiva Sri Krishna parabhaktihi ataksa nirguna eva Brahma bhutta prasanatma na sochati na kangstati sama sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. From the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's own words. Sridhara comments. A person who has realized his constitutional spiritual nature engages in transcendental devotional service unto the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Therefore, such devotion is transcendental through the three modes of material nature. On the translation of the Gita verse, by knowledge of the non-differentiated absolute truth, one can achieve satisfaction, self-satisfaction, freedom from lamentation and hankering, and perceive the equality in all beings. And above this, he engages in transcendental devotional service unto me. Constitutional. When he says constitutional spiritual nature, what is the meaning? Constitutional. Means what you are made of. What you are made of. You, now this is talking about you, the person. What you are made of. Not your body. Your body, you say, is my body. But who is that my? Who is that who it belongs to? The body is, like I said, a property. We can see the body. It's the outer property. Just like the sugar. The sweetness is the outer property. The outer appearance of the thing. So the body is the appearance of the soul. So he's talking about the constitutional position of the soul itself, not the appearance of the soul. The soul itself. What is that? that constitutional position, what that soul is actually made up of, is he is the eternal energy of the Lord, the eternal servant of the Lord. And by engaging in that service, he is the servant. His constitutional position as servant of Krishna becomes manifest. What he is, what is actually is a servant of Krishna. And the body is only showing what the potential of that spiritual being is. Aristotle called the body the potential, and the soul was the actual thing. The body is potentially what the soul is actually. So we have to modify the body activities, transform it. This can be done by knowledge, and it can also be done by activity. The body can be transformed by activity also. And Krishna advises this in the Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga. And he also gives Jnana Yoga, by knowledge and by activity. And he finally recommends to Arjuna that activity is better than knowledge. Because by utilizing the body, it's much easier, much more complete. Sometimes by just thinking, we don't get the full benefit. Because we're thinking something, but then the body's senses are attracted to some other activity. So best to engage in karma yoga, using your body, your activities, in a purified way. Purified way means by engaging your senses in service of Krishna, and not just letting your senses engage with their objects in a material world. He said, by that practice of using your senses in his service, with detachment from the objects of the senses, the things that appear in this world, what the senses are engaged with. But just by this practice of using your senses, by activity, you can transform the body into its constitutional, spiritual, serving actuality, you might say. Being what you actually are, a servant of Krishna. Then your life becomes perfect. And you're also saying that it's transcendental to the three modes of nature. The three modes of nature: passion, ignorance, goodness. These are the things that are driving the senses. The thoughts that are full of passion, of ignorance and goodness, they drive the activities of the body and senses into mundane things that are not surrendered to Krishna. The thoughts may be lazy or whatever, or doing nonsense things without proper discrimination. Passion means, we're very lusty or angry or greedy or whatever. And then goodness also. Peaceful, tranquil. Oh yes, everything's very nice. Everyone's very nice. Not having any bad thoughts. Even that's not enough. Those are all considered material modes. Because why? Because they are still seeing Maya, not that. They're still not seeing Krishna, even in the mode of goodness. And one is simply happy in this world, peaceful in this world. He is still connected with the world and not seeing it, the world's connection with Krishna. So even goodness is considered material, not Krishna. So transcendental knowledge is transcendental to these three modes of acting that govern our sensuous activities. Serving Krishna or understanding Krishna as the source of everything, the absolute truth, upon which everything else is coming. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Krishna says in the Gita, everything is coming from me. And fixing his mind there upon that original source. And then he can make progress toward his actual constitutional identity. Then next, text 14. Akila Rasamrita Murti, Shri Krishna Eva, Yani Ganamrigya Turiya, Brahmano Mulashraya. Brahmano hi pratistaham, amitasyan, amitas yavya yasya cha, tashu, tasvat patash, Sraspatasya, Chadarmasya, Sukhasya Kantikasya. From the Bhagavad Gita again. Brahmano hi pratistaham. Very important. Means, we'll get to what that means. Huh? Sri Krishna, the embodiment of the entire compass of divine mellows, is the absolute source of the undifferentiated Brahman that the liberationists desire to merge into as a fourth state of the soul. And a translation of the verse says, transcendental to the modes of material nature as the absolute truth, axiomatic truth, replete with the divine variegatedness of holy name, form, nature, associates, and pastimes. I alone am the mainstay and fountainhead of Brahman, the ultimate destination of the liberationists or jnanis. Immortality, immutability, eternality, the eternal sustenance of divine love, and the ultimate ecstasy of the divine mellows of Vrindavan, Rajaras. All these are supported by me, the transcendental, variegated, axiomatic reality Krishna. Hare Krishna. On the material world, we make distinctions. This is like this is like that, this one is good, this one is bad. I like this, I don't like that. We see everything different from everything else. And everything is different from Krishna. That's where it comes from. There's difference from. Everything is already different from Krishna, therefore everything is different from each other also. Because we don't see Krishna, the underlying reality of everything. That is meant by the undifferentiated. The undifferentiated doesn't mean that Krishna himself is not, there's only one. It means that he's not this kind of difference that we see in this world of different qualities and different things that we like or not like. Krishna is all sweetness and playfulness, ecstasy. There are differences in Krishna in that sense, but in the other sense, they're all Krishna himself. They're just his energies, not just his energies, but they are his energies. Krishna can't be Krishna without his energies. Can you talk of sugar without its sweetness, without its white color, without its crystallinity? What type of thing is left if you take those things away? The properties are part of the thing. They're not separable from it, but they're different from it, but not separable. In the same way, Krishna's energies may be different from him, but they're part of him, and therefore the same. So we say achintya bheda bhed. They're simultaneously identical with and different from. So the Mayavad, the impersonalists, they say Brahman is the ultimate truth. And stop right there. That's the final destination, Brahman. They think they have reached everything once they reach Brahman. But here Krishna is pulling the rug right from out under them. Brahmano hi pratistaham. And Brahman stands on me. Brahman is not an independent thing. It has a dependence upon me. It's the light that comes from me. You're looking at the light, but you don't realize there's a light bulb there. So pratistaham. I am aham. Pratishta. Pratishta means stand. Brahman stands on me. Like when you stand up, you don't just stand up. You need the ground underneath you in order to stand up. If the ground wasn't there, how are you going to stand up? You ever see these movies where the spacemen are floating in the air? They can't stand up because there's no ground. They just float. So we think we're standing by our own effort, yes. But you have to depend upon the ground being there before you can do it. So same way, Brahman is like a floating there. And it has its stand, its existence on Krishna. He is the ultimate ground. The axiomatic reality. You know what axiomatic means? What's an axiom?
Maharaj, axioma is the true accepted truth.
Accepted truth. The fundamental principle. Fundamental principle. Like in geometry, in geometry, you know what geometry is, right? The study of shapes, of figures. There's someone who is called Euclid, a Greek mathematician, Euclid, and he developed the science of geometry. And in order to do that, he made some axioms that two straight lines will never meet with each other. Two parallel lines will never meet with each other. He said this is one of the axioms of geometry. So the axiom means what establishes whatever comes from that is based on the axioms, the assumptions, the initial conditions that you are establishing. There must always be some axiom before you can make any that will validate anything you derive from that. So they are the most basic principles, the foundation upon which all other statements are based. So Gurudev is saying here that Krishna is the axiomatic reality, that basis upon which all other things get their meaning. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Very good.
Very nice. Huh?
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Maharaj.
So now, are you all convinced you must surrender to Krishna?
My Maharaj, my hair is very not pure, very dirty. Difficult.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Chaitanya ki Jai. Samaveda
Jai.
ki Jai.
Jai.
Hari 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 Bol.
Hari Bol.
Jai Harinanda Ji, Ananditi Didi, Priyadarshana Didi, Bhagavati Didi, Uma Didi, and Bhakti Linda Didi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Jai Gurudev. Jai Devotee. Hari Bol Devotee.
Dandavad Pranam.